Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the invisible blueprint that powers literally every modern application. We interact with the digital world every single day, but rarely do we stop to think about the massive, highly distributed symphony of technology working behind the scenes. We're going to trace that journey right now, starting with a simple click on your screen and ending with the massive, unstructured data demands of artificial intelligence. It's a fascinating evolution, and I'm absolutely thrilled to walk you through it. Here's our game plan for today. We're going to stack these core concepts from the ground up, starting with the client-server model, comparing servers and databases, looking at physical versus cloud setups, navigating the network, and wrapping up with the infrastructure needed for AI. All right, part one, the client-server model. Let's start with the absolute foundation of the internet, how your device actually talks to the web. At its core, this is just a continuous loop of asking and receiving. Whether you're on a web browser like Chrome or firing off an API call from an app on your phone, your device acts as the client. It shoots a request out into the void, and a server somewhere listens for that request, processes it, and fires back a response. It's basically a relentless, high-speed game of digital catch. Now, we don't just have one client talking directly to one massive machine. To max out performance and security, this flow is decoupled into a three-tier architecture. You've got your presentation layer, which is the client you interact with. Then you have the application layer, which acts as the brains, handling the business logic. And finally, there's the data layer, safely holding the information. This separation is an absolute must because it ensures your client app never directly touches the sensitive database, keeping everything secure and running smoothly. Moving on to part two, servers versus databases. Now that we've got the layout, let's look at the core backend duo actually doing the heavy lifting. The easiest way to wrap your head around this relationship is the classic restaurant analogy. In this scenario, the server is the kitchen. It's the engine of the whole operation. The database, on the other hand, is the pantry, the library where all your ingredients are kept. A restaurant just cannot function effectively without both of them working in perfect harmony. Breaking that down a bit further, the server is your head chef. It takes your order, interprets the application logic, does the actual computing, and serves up the content. The database is a highly organized, ultra-secure pantry. It doesn't do any cooking. Its one and only job is to efficiently grab the exact ingredients the chef asks for. You need the server for processing power, and you need the database for memory. And this setup perfectly highlights what happens in real time. When you tap View My Orders on an app, it triggers a 5-step dance. The app sends a request to the server. The server instantly validates your identity for security. Then it translates your request into a precise query for the database. The database searches its highly structured tables, grabs your past orders, and tosses those ingredients back to the server. The server packages it all up into a slick web page and sends it to your screen. The crazy part? That entire orchestrated process happens in literal milliseconds. Section 3. Cloud versus physical servers. We know what these systems do, but where do they actually live? You hear the cloud tossed around a lot, but cloud and physical servers aren't exactly opposites. The real magic bridging them is containerization, specifically tools like Docker. So what is Docker, and why do we even need it? Well, historically, code that ran perfectly on a developer's laptop might completely crash on the production server because the environments were different. It's that classic, it works on my machine headache. Docker solves this by packaging your app and every single one of its dependencies into a standardized portable unit called a container. It guarantees that whether you are running on a physical bare metal server in your office for total resource isolation or renting flexible capacity in the cloud from AWS or Google, your app runs exactly the same way every single time. And the ability to easily deploy and scale these containers is exactly why the industry is shifting so incredibly fast. Look at this number. 64% of all server spending is now going straight to the cloud. We're talking about a massive $123 billion market shift away from companies owning their own clunky on-premise hardware rooms. And that shift is driven in huge part by the incredible portability and scalability that Docker and containerization provide. All right, part 4, navigating the network. We have all these clients, containers, and databases scattered across the globe. How do they actually find each other to communicate? That brings us to our network traffic directors. Historically, down at layer 1, we used hubs. These were honestly pretty unintelligent. They'd receive data and just blast it out to every single connected device. As networks grew, we moved to switches, which are much smarter. They direct data packets only to the specific intended recipient on a local network. Finally, we have routers, which operate at a higher level, connecting entirely different networks together based on IP addresses. That's what allows your local network to talk to a server halfway across the world. Now, looking back at hubs, it's pretty easy to see why they're considered a major security risk today. Because a hub broadcasts all data to every device indiscriminately. Anyone with physical access to the network could literally just plug in and eavesdrop on sensitive information meant for someone else. There is zero data privacy, which is exactly why they are rarely used in modern infrastructure, having been replaced almost entirely by targeted secure switches. And finally, Section 5, Infrastructure for AI. Let's look at how this entire architecture is evolving to support the massive, unprecedented demands of artificial intelligence. Traditional databases, our highly organized pantries, are awesome for neat rows and columns of text and numbers. But they completely choke on messy, unstructured data like images, audio files, and natural human language. This is where AI-native databases step in, using something called vector indexing. They use an embedding model to convert a picture or a block of text into a high-dimensional numerical array, a vector, that captures its deep semantic meaning. Instead of just searching for exact keyword matches, the AI database actually understands the context and the relationships behind the information. Because they understand context rather than just reading tags, AI databases let you build some wildly smart tools in the real world. Think about an intelligence support agent that doesn't just read a canned script, but actually digests a complex user manual, understands a customer's uniquely phrased problem, and retrieves the exact troubleshooting steps. Or advanced recommendation engines that suggest furniture based on the visual aesthetic of a photo you uploaded, not just the word chair. It completely changes how we retrieve and utilize data. It's a fascinating shift, right? We've moved from simple client-server requests to complex vector embeddings that literally understand human intent. Which leaves us with one vital question to consider as we wrap up this explainer. As artificial intelligence demands deeper context and incredible processing power, is your back-end architecture prepared to handle the future, or are you still relying on a 20th century pantry? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for exploring the blueprint of the internet with me today.